So yeah, it's been a while since I've done one of these. Ghost 12 was good. I didn't really have anything to add, so I skipped that week, especially because, well, I've been busy. And then they went on hiatus for a week. Ninja went on vacation for 2 weeks because with the holidays in Japan, they've seen in previous years that ratings kind of fall immediately after Christmas stuff because everybody's off on vacation. Seriously, literally everyone is. Well, I shouldn't say literally, but almost everybody is on vacation that the following week to visit family and all that stuff, and so it makes sense them taking off. So yeah, I haven't done one of these in about 3 weeks, but Ghost is back, and he survived the time limit thing thanks to his father giving him his soul power. It's not exactly very well explained. Problem with Ghost. It doesn't like explaining things. But when Aran creates more Ganma, because Saionji is no longer supplying him with materials to create Ganma, at least Ganma battle form Ganma, he's figured out how to do it on his own and starts up a new plan with a UFO-themed Ganma. Well, it's manifested from an astronaut helmet, so helmet Ganma? I don't know. And a replacement katana Ganma to start up on a plan, which involves static controlling transmission rates. I think they're trying to spawn Ganma from some kind of thing because everyone's that's affected by this field collapses. So maybe they're stealing their souls and storing them in icon form. That would kind of gel with what we saw happen to Kanon, in that she was trapped in that form, so maybe this is just an extension of that. We really don't know at this point. But with Takeru having his time reset, he needs to find the few remaining icons left. And he's got Goemon to use in his new Tokan Boost Damashi form, except it takes until the end of the episode for him to actually use it because he's too busy utilizing his other forms and abilities. And Onari's spending the episode just emphasizing for Takeru to use it, and like I said, Takeru doesn't. So it's kind of funny because it's carrying over from the big climactic battle in episode 11, like a month ago, where at the end of it, Onari wanted to see him use Goemon because he just found Goemon, but the battle wrapped up by that point, so we didn't see it happen. So this has kind of been building to that for a couple weeks, that it was kind of funny to see it. But, yeah, Goemon himself, the form itself, kind of basic. Increases Takeru's speed and agility, increases sword fighting ability with the Sunglass Slasher. That name is still silly. But the main part of the episode, and next week's, because they're finally slowing it down to arc episodes, is based around acquiring the Ryoma icon, based not on Ryoma Sengoku, but Ryoma Sakamoto, who was involved in the Meiji Revolution, if I'm remembering the bits correctly, in that he was passionate about achieving a dream and was famous for forging an alliance between two warring factions that would then fight together. In the show, that's what they tell us about him. But this episode is problematic for me because, well, Ryoma's a dick. And let me explain this. Since he is an icon at this point because of Saionji, he uses the whole Gamma icon similarity, the whole Kamen Rider similarity and power sets thing, to possess a human. Now, this is squicky because there are only two types of possession stories, or two ones at the root of them. One where there's a symbiotic bond between the possessee and the possessed, where one gets something from the other, or one tries to help the other. Their actions are helpful and not ultimately harmful for them. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is an example of one of the latter. Former. I didn't explain the first one. And Ank's case in O's was also a case of a beneficial or symbiotic relationship because while he was using Hino's body, not Izumi. I am forgetting the guy's name. I love O's, and I'm forgetting the guy's name. But yeah, while Ankh was possessing him, it was also saving him from dying and helping his body recover from what otherwise would have left him as a corpse. So it was kind of an equivalent exchange thing. That was Ankh's thing, sort of. But then you get the other type of possession story, where it's metaphorical or symbolic of being violated. And, that's getting into body horror territory, and the full connotations are really, really squicky, and I'm just glossing over it, but this almost verged on that when we first see how Ryoma has possessed this guy, but as the episode develops, we learn that he possessed him because this individual has a strong affinity for and respect for Ryoma. So, for all we know, this might be the person that Saionji got the icon from originally, and, it's kind of like symbiotic host relationship, as then in exchange for using his body intermediately, to see the world, Ryoma is trying to help this guy achieve his dream, like Ryoma did in his time. So, he's getting something back for doing this, I guess. It's not very well framed, as has been becoming the problem with Ghost. But when Takeru comes to call him, he initially mistakes the possessed person for, the whole Ganma thing, only to learn it's actually Ryoma. Then Takeru tries to get his help, or, recruits him as a usable icon because, well, that's what Takeru's father asked him to do, unite all 15 souls of the icons, and not just, for a wish, but more regularly, gain all of their respects to gain their power, I guess. Even Takeru doesn't know what's going on right now. And, that's part of the problem, in that they're kind of wailing on Takeru incessantly about, being an idiot, being indecisive, and he is really not. He is just prioritizing things. And this bugs me because Ninja, Tokuger, Kyoryuger, Go Busters, they did the exact opposite. They praised the idiots. They promoted someone who has no aptitude for things as being good at them by complete accident and by luck. And then, you're over here, you have a guy that's trying to do his best. He doesn't exactly know what he's doing because no one will tell him anything. And, they're kind of just slamming these points which aren't actually reflected in his character, his acting, his story arc. Yeah, he's a bit flighty, but he's doing his best. It annoys me because, it's why I stopped watching the Ninja, and if they were slamming that show for this, if this was like counterattacking Rebuction for, trying to correct that, as if they were if they were overcompensating for this other show doing it stupidly, I could understand that, but it doesn't make sense for what, the whole thing with Takeru, because he's a legitimately nice guy. He's legitimately trying to help people and be kind and beneficial and not put himself before others when they need help. And here's this guy calling him an idiot because, he has, lost my point. But, it's not actual idiocy. It's character different perspectives of being a character. Admittedly, sometimes being that selfless can be stupid, but if it fits the character, if they're not being an asshole about it, there's not really that much of an issue. But I feel it's there more for inter-character conflict and to pad out the runtime for why Ryoma isn't immediately coming on to Takeru, and not like that, obviously, being recruited. So it's like a bit of a hassle to actually get his loyalty. And admittedly, that isn't unwarranted because, earning their respect has been part of why some icons have gone to some people and some icons have gone to the other. Admittedly, we didn't see Spectre getting Tutankhamun. Did we? Yeah, we did. We did, didn't we? But it was more like the Nobunaga incident. The incident with Nobunaga going to Spectre instead of Takeru was likely a respect of strength and not guile, but it's it would make sense, but I don't like how Takeru is getting slammed for something that's not exactly consistent with his character. Yes. But, Ryoma isn't that bad about it, in that he gives Takeru a challenge to, what do you actually want? More than just the Ganma complex, because if he has his own dream, if he has his own ambitions and goals past coming back to life, that's something worth fighting for, and that's something Ryoma can respect. So I don't like how it started up, but I like how they're trying to get, Takeru to think about himself and not just abandon all these other elements of himself for the conflict, as once the conflict's over, if you have nothing to live for, that's not good. And admittedly, Takeru was introduced as kind of flighty, but the conflict's giving him purpose in his life. The whole, my life's gonna burn bright, I have to get my life back. But if your life's not something worth living, then why do you value it? Or why do you really want to get it back? Why would he want to follow someone that's just going to give up his life for no reason? See, I'm kind of going back and forth on perspectives on this. And at least, this challenge, however, is to recreate the challenge for Ryoma to be recruited by Takeru, that is to forge an alliance between the person he's possessing, which Ryoma was going to help with initially, so I guess he's not really being that helpful, but it is, paying the guy, the one he's using as a host for his time in the body by actually getting him to achieve his goal, which is the host is a designer for satellites, and his father is a engineer for satellites, and the two don't get along. That seems kind of contrived, that both father and son are part of the same profession like that. I mean, my dad was an engineer. I tried to get into the chemistry thing because while I like building things, I was very bad at the engineering part of it, the design part of it. So it didn't really exactly fit me that well. I mean, I grew up with Legos, obviously, but that's pretty much craft tier, not actual building stuff. I guess it makes sense in this sense that when someone is passionate about it, they wish to share what they do with someone, and I guess that can inspire their children to kind of go into the same thing, and they would encourage that, like parents who love sports encouraging their kids to get into sports so they could cheer on their children while they were cheering on their sports, something like there's a precedent for it, is what I'm saying, but it still seems odd to me. But unfortunately, the two kind of have an argument that they say it involves a second son as well, where we didn't actually get any fleshed out relation of what the conflict is between the two in the episode, so hopefully they'll actually go into it a bit in the next episode, because one of Ghost's problems is how superfluous surface level it can be for some of these stories. Actually, a lot of these stories, because they're not actually giving us tangible details to the conflict. We still don't know what the Ganma want. We don't know what is Iran's plan. We don't have any real tangibles about the Ganma world. We just know they're the enemy and how they manifest. We don't know why they want the icons. We don't there's a lot of stuff we don't know that I feel like we should by this point, even though the stories themselves are not badly presented. They're not very complex, even though there is a serialized story arc going on, which you would think would lead towards complexity, but it's really not, and that's kind of sad. I already went over Goemon, but there's one other thing. Makoto is helping Kanan recover from whatever being a demon eye was doing to her, and he's kind of, I don't want to say sorrowful, but he kind of feels regretful now that Takeru's still stuck like that after he actually gave up his chance to be reborn, not reborn, given his full life as a human back, and I feel as if that thanks to this, it's going to... He's helping out Takeru now in battles freely, and we saw that in episode 11 already, but it's more... There's a more tangible... I shouldn't say tangible. There's a shift in his character that's, I feel, is leading to something, but we're not quite there yet. And I'm wondering how that's going to factor into him finally using the Houdini icon in a few episodes. We got some preview information that Houdini should be showing up pretty soon. And yeah, that's all I got for this week. I'm going to have an episode released tomorrow. I apologize for how late this came out, but no one was subbing this episode this week. I mean, Orange Lion did, but they're still third in the rankings as with regards to release subgroups that are releasing episodes. So I wanted to wait until Overtime or TV Nihon got something out in case, peer review missed something. Plus, I'm more used to their stylization choices. Yeah, that's all I got for now. So I will see you all next time.